Marcus, what do you do?
Vinyl wrap caskets.
You vinyl wrap caskets. Well, boy, do I have 2 new clients coming up.
From a 14-year-old aspiring carpenter to a guy who vinyl wraps caskets, this is when Matt Rife roasts people for their jobs. Not with rehearsed material, not with pre-written zingers. With one question: what do you do for work?
He what? He works in the office? Sleep at your desk, dude!
And whatever comes next lands like a straight right in the second round, every single time. If you like watching a comedian pick apart a stranger's career in real time, hit subscribe before this gets pulled. We start with the undercard, the strange jobs, the specific jobs, the jobs where the answer itself already sounds like a setup, and Rife just has to land the counter. He doesn't have to swing hard, he barely has to swing at all. The job walked in throwing. First up, Dustin makes custom bikes for handicapped and elderly customers. Rife tries to build rapport, asks a simple follow-up question about the guy's social life, and the follow-up did more damage than the roast.
Good group of friends around you? Zero. That was a very definitive sad answer. Wow. Holy shit.
That's the opening jab of the fight, and Rife didn't throw it. Dustin walked into it. Rife just had to stand there and hold the mic. Dustin didn't answer not many, didn't answer a few. He answered 0. The crowd work did itself. Rife took the round for free. Same guy, same round. Rife opens the gift bag Dustin had brought up to the stage. Turns out it's merch from Dustin's custom bike company. Rife pinned the promotional stunt against the ropes immediately.
It's from your business? This isn't a plug, bitch. Take this back.
Rife then threatened a fake lawsuit over a trademarked hat design because in his ring, you don't get to pitch your side hustle mid-fight. The gloves come off for the promotional stunt. Dustin took his own bag home. Sponsors don't get to book themselves onto the card. Next fighter in the undercard. A guy answers Rife's job question with 2 words that Rife could not resist swinging on. The guy said, house husband. Rife pivoted to satire in about half a second.
Women, they're taking your jobs.
Everyone in the room caught the bit. The fake macho panic is the punchline. The joke is on Rife too. He fired a shot at the visiting fighter and at his own persona in one combination. The house husband won the round because he didn't even have to speak. His job title carried the fight. Now we move to the mid-card, the healthcare pros, the people whose entire job is being calm and rational and hard to shake. Rife specifically hunts them at his shows because a mental health professional losing her composure at a stand-up gig is the biggest laugh he can get, and he gets it every single tour.
You think a therapist? You are a therapist. How am I doing?
Rife guesses a woman is a therapist based on nothing. She confirms. He asks how he seems. She says normal, and Rife converted the compliment into a professional competence attack in one sentence.
Seem normal? You're bad at your job. If I'm the medium for normal, you guys are fucked, dude.
The therapist could not recover, because to defend herself, she'd have to argue that he wasn't normal, which was his entire premise. She got trapped in her own corner. Rife sold the crowd on the idea that his behavior is the baseline of mental health. That's a hook to the body. She dropped her guard. Another therapist night. A marriage and family therapist tells Rife she's psychologically studying his videos. He knew exactly where this was going before she finished the sentence. Every therapist in America has a podcast.
You writing a book about these scammers?
No, I'm gonna do a podcast.
You're gonna do a podcast about it?
Every therapist in America thinks their patient stories are worth podcasting. Rife called out the trend in one sentence. The therapist laughed because she couldn't argue. She probably was considering it. Down goes the mid-card fighter. Third round of the medical card. A clinical psychologist at his Australia show decides to diagnose Rife's sleep issues live at the show. Her diagnosis, delivered with a straight face. Maybe your mind's just running at night.
Yeah, you're really good at your job. Take my money.
Rife did more diagnostic work in 2 seconds than she did in a full evening. The psychologist's PhD got roasted by a comedian's rhetorical uppercut. Half the room laughed at the sarcasm. The other half took mental notes to stop paying their therapist. Round to the challenger by decision. Now the middle rounds. The physical trades on one side, the office workers on the other. Rife's tactic here is to pit them against each other. and take a swing at both. Because the setup is always the same, the audience member gives him one honest sentence about their job, and Rife finds the exact spot in that sentence where the emotional guard is lowest. A man tells Rife he owns a drywall business, but he was going to join the Marines before his father passed away. Rife pauses. Then he does not pause. He throws through the emotional guard.
Kind of cool that he passed being like, my son's a Marine. And you're like, I hang drywall. Got him.
The dead father sob story turned into a punchline about occupational disappointment. The crowd laughed and cheered, because that's the trick of a Rife roast. He gets you to laugh at something you know you shouldn't. Then he moves on before you can process the guilt. That's how you steal a round. A man is asleep in the front row. Rife wakes him up. His friends explain the job. Construction. Rife swings on the setup punchline before the twist even lands.
He probably is fucking tired, man, to be honest. White people just aren't built for manual labor.
The line lands. The room laughs. But the friends had a correction coming, because Rife had swung on incomplete information, and the follow-up made the whole exchange worse. Rife had the mic and the crowd. He needed the fact check to complete the combo. The friends corrected him. The sleeping guy doesn't work construction. He works in the office for the construction company, which was somehow worse. Rife pivoted without breaking stride.
He what? He works in the office? Sleep at your desk, dude.
One line. The sleeping man got 2 roasts back to back. First for a job he doesn't have, then for a job that's even harder to justify sleeping through. The office worker just got knocked down by a double combo. Referee didn't even count. Round over. The championship rounds now. The uniformed careers, the badges, the code books, the people who signed contracts saying they'd take these jobs seriously. Rife's specialty in this weight class is finding the gap between what they signed up for and what they actually do, between what the job title implies and what the day-to-day actually looks like. And in most of these cases, that gap is a canyon. A woman walks right up to the stage during the show. Rife spots the actual security guard's failure in real time, and then he calls it out from behind the mic. He fired the man from the stage.
Security fired. He just let her walk right up here. What if that was a fucking knife? Could have killed me. Go kick that woman in the chest.
The guard said, "I'm on it." The exact phrase of a guy who was very much not on it. Rife's ability to fire a security guard mid-set from behind the mic is one of the more Bond villain moves in modern crowd work, and the crowd applauded the termination. The uniform lost the round to the man in the graphic tee. A man at his Singapore show tells Rife he was in the army as a firefighter, on the supporting team. Rife immediately mocked the phrasing with a 3-second pantomime of what a firefighter's supporting team would actually do at a fire.
There's a fire over there, you guys. Come on, guys!
The supporting team for firefighters. Rife acted out the entire job in 3 seconds of sideline pantomime. The firefighter's dignity kissed the canvas, but then his friend spoke up and made the whole exchange worse. The friend next to him tried to establish his own military bona fides. He said he was a finance clerk in the army. Rife did the math out loud and grouped them together in one sentence.
Neither of you were in the army, all right? Stop telling people this.
One sentence. Both careers ended. Both fighters TKO'd from the same corner. Rife exposed the entire genre of guys who technically served but never touched a weapon, and did it while both of them were sitting in the front row of his show. That's championship round work. A defense attorney tells Rife he got a client off death row for a double homicide. On a technicality, Rife did not process this quietly. The reaction landed as loud as any punch on the card.
Technical. Shut the fuck up. That's insane. I know you did it, but you did it right.
The lawyer laughed. The crowd laughed. Rife made a joke about admiring competent murder defense work and immediately moved on to the next roast. Because in his ring, even a defense attorney's job description is fair game for a 2-line combo. The badge, the codebook, and the JD didn't help. Down goes the champion. Final rounds now. The people responsible for children, professionally, teachers, youth workers, stay-at-home parents. Rife's whole angle in this weight class is, whatever you think this job is, the reality is stranger. And whatever the audience member confesses first, that's where he swings. A special ed teacher at his LA show admits to losing high schoolers on a field trip to the zoo. She said it out loud on a comedy stage. Rife delivered the mental image before she could add any context.
You lost special need high schoolers in a zoo? Arm wrestling with gorillas and shit?
Every parent in the room understood the mechanism. The second you tell a comedian your students got out of your sight at the zoo, the imagery he constructs is going to be worse than what actually happened. Rife took the parents' worst mental picture and delivered it back to them for free. That's a body shot. A youth worker tells Rife she works with kids aged 12 to 17. Rife identified the exact strategic problem with the age bracket without ever saying it out loud.
Oh, that's when they start to get strong. It's very, right? You better give them that hug.
The word hug doing about 6 different jobs in that sentence. Rife implied everything without saying anything specific. The entire routine lives in the space between what he said and what the audience filled in. The youth worker laughed because the entire youth worker job is being aware of exactly what that word implies. Down goes another one. An 11-year-old at a London show tells Rife his mom stays at home. Rife did not spare the kid and did not spare the mom. He delivered the punchline directly to the boy.
Oh, that's awesome. You get to come home from school, mom's already there, count the hours till dad gets home.
The kid laughed. The kid's mom probably laughed. Every parent in the room definitely laughed. Rife's ability to insult a stranger's mom to her child's face and get a standing ovation is what the fight game calls closing the show. The final round belongs to the visitor. But if you want the definitive Rife job roast, the moment that redefined this format, you have to go to a 14-year-old kid in Europe. Because Rife doesn't wait for you to have a career to roast the career. He'll roast the aspiration. A 14-year-old boy at his Eurotrip show. Rife asks the kid what he wants to do when he grows up. The kid says, carpentry. Rife notes the kid's size and warns him off working on roofs. Then he asks the follow-up question. It's the question that ended the room.
What do you want to build first? A relationship with your father?
The kid froze. The kid's dad froze. The room lost its mind. Rife's specialty isn't the roast. It's finding the emotional load-bearing wall behind whatever answer you give him and then throwing a hook straight through it. Nobody's career survives the follow-up question. Not the therapist, not the security guard, not the 14-year-old carpenter, because the job's never the punchline. The reason you took the job is the punchline, and Rife hits it every time. If you want to see the same playbook run on Hollywood itself, Cat Williams has spent 2 decades exposing the industry's biggest names, the dirtiest secrets, and the frauds nobody else will call out. The full breakdown is in the description. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it. The bell has rung.